What I've got here is TPU. Let's see, squeeze and bend. PLA, and then what you can hear being made right now is ABS. I'm making the same guy. I was going to do a little video about, you know, the differences in TPU, PLA, and ABS, and I just could not get this thing to print. I've got like 4 of these feet, and you can see that it's not flat. Here's the PLA, here's the TPU, and then the ABS. And I did some research, and I didn't know this at first because I just recently started printing with ABS because the PLA to me is a better plastic, but ABS has a higher melting point. And so some plastics do, especially here in Kansas, we have really hot summers. Some things that are gonna, you know, maybe go in my car or go outside or in my garage shop and stuff need to be printed in ABS. So I wanted to get used to printing in ABS. And what ABS does is it retracts. The plastic does. It actually expands when it goes onto the bed, and then I have a heated bed. I had it from 80, I was testing different temps from 80 all the way up to 110, and no matter what I did, it just kept retracting and kept retracting, and then it would pop off and I would have lots of filament everywhere. So this is the furthest one. This one was at 110. This is the furthest one that made it. The rest of them were just literally a few layers of the feet before it popped off. This one I tried to use, you can see the lines on the bottom, I tried to use painter's tape to help stick it on. Didn't work. That's like my trusty go-to when the PLA won't stick, is painter's tape. Even though I have an Anycubic i3 Mega that has a really good bed on it, every now and then I have to use some extra help. So I'll show you guys what I did. I took this Elmer's Craft phone, which when I get up you guys can see that this is a t-shirt bed for my t-shirt making machine, and I use this to stick my t-shirts onto the t-shirt thing because it is for temporary or permanent bonds, and it's a fast tack. So what I ended up doing is spraying this pretty heavily on it, and I've got a print going right now in the really heavy stuff. But around where it's printing right now, I took a razor blade and I scraped most of it off, and I've got a better adhesion in the parts that I scraped off with a razor blade. That razor blade there. Let me just show you the bed. You can see the shiny parts here. I sprayed it all over real thick, and there you can see how thick it got. Well, once it started printing, I went ahead and took the razor blade and I started, you know, scraping the top layer off. And this is actually very adhesive. So if this doesn't work, well, it looks like the toe might be starting to come up right there. So if this doesn't work, then I'm going to retry it on this. Let's see. Yeah, you can slip the edge of my scraper right under there. Oh man, it's stuck to it. I can't get it off, it's stuck. There we go. See, so I think you need to wait until the top kind of bubbles up and then scrape it off, and then get this right here, because this is super sticky. The adhesive is awesome on that. And I'm not sure, I think that this is going to work, to be honest with you. It's not going to have a completely flat bottom, but I think for the most part it's going to work, because it's only that one corner that seems to be popping up. It usually starts with 1 foot, this 1 foot way long before now, and then this other foot pops up, you know, and then it completely comes undone. But I think this one's going to work. I think this one's going to print through, so I'm actually going to use this just to kind of show the differences in the material, ABS, PLA, and TPU. And then I'll print another one using, I've got another ABS right here, the green ABS. I'll use that on this part right around here, and we'll see how well that works. And I've also heard that if you do it with the adhesion like this on an unheated bed, see this is running at, I think 110, between 170 and 110, 250. And this one's running higher than I'll run this one. This one I run about 230 with 100 on the heat bed. I'm running this one higher because it's a really cheap ABS, and the box that it came in, Repco 3D, actually has temperatures on the lid. It didn't come with a book like most of my Filament does that tells you, what it needs to be set at, what the optimum settings are. This says 220 to 250, so I'm just doing it at 250 right now, just kind of the highest range. Then depending on this one, I'll kind of work its way down. This one came with a little booklet that said not to go over 240, so I usually run it at 230, and that's what I usually do, keep it 10 under the highest setting. But this is a giant freaking, the biggest spool I've had to do, and I wanted this to be really good because this spool of ABS right here, well, for one, I need to learn how to print with ABS because this is the biggest spool that I've gotten so far, and it's the cheapest spool I've gotten. I think it was like $14.50. I better learn how to do this because I got a lot of ABS to go through. So here is the finished project from what I showed you guys, and these two here are a couple of the ones that popped off before I added the spray adhesive, and you can tell just how much bend they have. Let me put this one here. This one has straight flat on the ground. That's the PLA, and you'll see more in depth to these whenever I do a budget filament video, which is going to be here fairly soon. So this one's really bad. This one, I kind of messed with the bottom just because I wanted to see how good a razor blade goes with ABS, and you can surprisingly form this stuff pretty easily with a razor blade. But this is the build plate set at 80 and the extruder set at 250. This one's 250, 110. 250 with the extruder, 110 on the build plate. And this one's 110 on the build plate with adhesive, 250 in the extruder, and the fan turned off. I figured out how to turn the fan off on Cura. You can still see that there was a little bit that came up. It's not completely flat on the ground, but it did a pretty good job. Another thing too that I noticed, you can see kind of how the foot comes down and then back in. This foot is flat, and then if you look at this one, it has kind of like a regular foot look to it. It kind of goes up and then like rounded more. So I don't know what that's all about. But the spray adhesive worked really good. So ABS, this Craft Bond spray right here, spray it on real thick where it's all bubbly while the build plate is hot, and then take a razor blade and scrape off all the bubbly until it's all nice, smooth, and silky and clear, and it works perfectly. And it lasts for multiple prints. This one got done in the middle of the night, and the machine shuts off when it's done, so it all cooled down and the glue dried completely. And this is another ABS here, and you can see the adhesive on it. As soon as it heats back up, it becomes pliable and sticky again. His feet are kind of doing the same thing as the last one, but this is the first print after switching. He hasn't fell apart. I haven't had to redo him or anything like that. He is stuck to the build plate and doing really good. So This one right here will be along with the red one for the ABS filament, the budget ABS filament video that I'm going to do, along with the TPU filament one, and I'm doing the alien in all of my PLA, so I can do kind of a budget filament video. So look forward to that. It's going to be nothing but these alien guys. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you get you some of that craft foam if you're messing around with ABS. I'm still going to do a few other things. I heard about putting a trash bag over this. You just need as much heat as possible. Turn the fan off, put some adhesive on here, jack the build plate temperature way up, go to the highest limit that you can according to your ABS on the extruder. This one was actually at 240, but my last ABS was set at 250 because it said that its temperature could go to 250, so I went ahead and left this one on 250 just so I can keep the temps up. So 250 seems to be right around the best that I can get. 110 on the build plate and 250 on the extruder, and then the fan off adhesive. That's kind of the best way that I've done it, but it's still not flat. And doing parts that need to be flat and need to be, you know, extremely geometric, I guess this wouldn't be the greatest thing, so I'm still messing around with it, still trying some things out. And probably if it's going to be like a geometric thing build, I'm probably going to have to put like a bag or build a box for the Anycubic, which shouldn't be hard to trap all the heat in, and then I'll be making a video on that if it works. So anyways, I'm Bryson Michael RC. You guys have a good one.